Kamala Harris's campaign is in tatters after consecutive weeks of disastrous gaffes, stumbles and mumbles out on the campaign trail. Sky News All Stars James Morrow, Hildebrand and Danica Giorgio take a look at Kamala Harris's latest word salads and ask if she's ruined her chances at election victory forever. Kamala Harris's campaign is going from bad to worse. The presidential hopeful has fumbled several softball interviews over the past fortnight, was demolished during her interview on Fox News a few days ago, and missed the all-important Al Smith dinner, which gave Donald Trump free rein to roast her without a right of reply. Her new strategy of showing her face is backfiring, causing mass panic on the eve of the election, reveals Sky News All-Star James Morrow.
On to the fun of U.S. politics. And I tell you what, it's been another awful week for the Kamala Harris campaign. Not only did she flail her way through that Fox News interview with Bret Baier, but she also chickened out of going to the annual Al Smith dinner, a gathering in New York of New York City's most prominent Catholics, where traditionally politicians and presidential candidates give each other a bit of a light-hearted roasting. But she didn't show up, which meant that Donald Trump had the field to himself. And I tell you what, he didn't miss.
Everyone knew Kamala would struggle in a sit-down interview with Fox News, but no one could anticipate just how badly she would do, reveals Sky News All-Star Joe Syracusa.
How do you rate Kamala Harris's Fox News interview performance, and how important is that interview to this election, do you think?
Well, look, I think she did very poorly. Look, I know all of her supporters said she did a wonderful job. Actually, the body language was quite different. She couldn't answer the questions. She kept going back to her comments on her nominating speech at the Democratic convention when she was handed the nomination. She did very, very poorly, and I imagine her minders put her on that show thinking, you know, this is the last gasp, and she's running out of oxygen here. I mean,
Sky News host Danica Giorgio agrees, saying Kamala bungled the interview.
Look, speaking of eye rolling, my loser this week, I had to give it to Kamala Harris. She's one big eye roll altogether. After, I thought maybe, look, her real test came when she did the Fox News interview. I thought, okay, this is the real test. She bungled it. This is my favourite part. Have a look.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't.
I mean, she can't even answer the question. She goes back to these lines, these pre-prepared lines, and she rolls out Donald Trump stuff. She's got no clue.
She hasn't. Look, if she's having a bad hair day, she blames Trump. You know, I mean, Trump, she is so obsessed with that, Matt. She's a psycho, I really believe.
You're right. She's obsessed.
So, honestly, I mean, they manipulated it. They, came late for the interview, gave him only 15 minutes. So, he's been criticised for bullying her. Well, God, he had to get the questions in, and she didn't answer them anyway. Why would you waste your time?
And it's not bullying, it's actually asking hard questions, unlike CNN and the rest of those lefty loonies over at the other channels.
And immediately after Kamala's fumbled Fox interview, she and her team made the foolish decision to skip the Al Smith dinner in New York, which allowed Donald Trump to command the spotlight and double down on criticism of her, reveals Sky News All-Star Steve Price.
I tell you where I wanted to be today. It was the best television I've seen for the last couple of months. Donald Trump. He headlined something I'd never heard of before, which is the Al Smith Memorial Foundation dinner in New York City. Now, it involves prominent politicians from around the country taking the opportunity. It's a Catholic church fundraiser, Joe, so you'd love it. But he was allowed to get up there and have a dig at everybody in the room. And I was sitting there watching Chuck Schumer and the former governor of New York, Michael Bloomberg, sitting there with these stony faces, not wishing to smile or laugh. Have a look at the great Donald here. Have a look at this.
As you may have seen, Kamala did an interview on Fox News yesterday. It went so poorly for her that the Democrats have been forced to install another 100 drop boxes throughout the city. And the upside really is Kamala now sees the benefit of deportation. She wants to deport people. She's vicious. She wants to deport people, and she wants to start by deporting Brett Baer of Fox.
I tell you, he didn't back off at all. Some of the gags that were written were really tasteless. Amanda, Kamala Harris chose not to attend. Good decision, bad decision?
I think it's a bad decision. If you're wanting to lead a country, you're going to have to attend things you like and you don't like. That's just part of the role. And it also shows good sportsmanship to turn up to things that you don't particularly like doing. You know, that's what we expect from our leaders. And it's a missed opportunity for her. If you turn up and you can engage and you can show people that I'm lighthearted, but I can still, you know, be in the same room as my opposition, people would actually respect you for that.
James Morrow agreed, exposing Donald Trump's genius in roasting Kamala Harris.
Naturally, Kamala Harris was the target of much of the routine. Have a look at this.
Campaigning can take a toll on a family and family life, although I hear that Kamala and her husband carve out some really beautiful alone time at the end of the day for an intimate dinner, just Doug, her, and the teleprompter that she uses quite well.
And following Kamala's disastrous week, commentators like Spiked Online chief political reporter Brendan ONeal are comparing her to her confused predecessor Joe Biden and saying we are doomed if she prevails.
If Kamala Harris wins, we are doomed. America is doomed and the world is doomed. I don't think the world can survive 4 years of President Harris. I just don't think we'll make it through. You know, she is disastrous. She is, you know, people talk about Biden being on another planet. At least he has the excuse of being old and infirm. What's her excuse? You know, apart from the fact that she seems to drink a lot. But you know, she often doesn't make sense. She rambles. It's incoherent. We don't quite know what she believes. We don't. She's incapable of explaining to us what her policies would be. I think it's a disaster if she gets into the White House.
And to top off the pile on, Donald Trump has come out more savage and determined than ever to blast Kamala Harris and expose her true colours to the world.
Tell me when you've seen me take even a little bit of a risk. Not only I'm not even tired. I'm really exhilarated. You know why? We're killing her in the polls because the American people don't want her. She didn't pass her bar exam. She's not a smart person. She's not a person that should represent our country. So I just want to let you know that very clearly.
And Sky News All-Star Joe Hildebrand weighed in, saying Kamala Harris's strategy of showing her face more is only driving people away from her.
Kamala Harris, the more people see of her, the less they like her, and she still seems to be someone staggering around in the middle of this kind of weird word salad, trying to get her hands on an idea or a policy, and she just doesn't have either.
Joe Hildebrand then went on to say Kamala's week from hell has translated into the betting markets, and it's not good news.
The Fox interview happened with Kamala, and ever since, the betting market has just basically taken a plunge for Trump. I think in one he was like 60-40 to win, 61 maybe even.